In this video, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the ownership experience of my newly refreshed Tesla Model S long range. And oh my God, so far, my experience has been going basically like this. What the heck? What the fuck? Yeah, that and more in today's 6-month review of my update when I took possession of my refresh Model S long range. Let's go ahead and get started. So with gas prices going up, even though I had some hiccups with this vehicle, owning this car has been a positive experience. Because in actuality, this car is about 3 cents per mile. So it's saving me a lot of money. Just however, in case you don't know, I did upgrade it from my Model Y to the Model S, and I've noticed it's missing a lot of features. For starters, there's no karaoke in the infotainment system, and there's no power graph. This graph was extremely useful on the Model Y because it gave me an estimate how to drive efficient. This one doesn't have this. And in addition to that, to add salt to injury, the Autopilot scroll wheel right here, this is where you typically will activate it for the Model S. Where's the Model Y? It's a similar story, just if you tap right or left, this will actually allow you to adjust the vehicle distance you want the Autopilot to follow. For the Model S, these buttons don't do anything. You have to go into the settings to actually adjust this. But that's just a complaint because the Model Y and the S is obviously more expensive. I'm surprised it's missing these features. Now, when I purchased my Model S, it was listed at a much more affordable or obtainable price because now if you actually go on Tesla's website, my Model S is now worth that much. That's insane. But I guess due to inflation and stuff like that and the high demand, I can see why this car is going up in price. So if you're interested in a Model S and you want to know the pros and cons, I'm going to go ahead and basically cover my entire ownership experience and things to look out for when placing your order or buying a used refresh Model S. Let's go ahead and get started. So the Model S long range like this one, some will say it's a poor man plaid. Honestly, it's not, especially after that updated price tag. And to be honest, it handles like a supercar. No, it doesn't do 0-60 in 1.9, but it still does 0-60 in the low 3s, which is insane. That's supercar territory back in 2010. And then when you take a look at it from the exterior point of view, the difference between the long range and the plaid is honestly just the spoiler, as both have the aggressive fenders in the front and rear, wider wheels and tires, same wheel options, which I'll go more about that in a little bit. Same exact interior. Just recently, Tesla removed the wood trim piece for the plaid and just replaced it with carbon fiber only. Before, some plaids were able to be purchased with a wood trim if they like, but interior looks, there's no difference between the plaid and the long range. It's really hard to tell the two apart other than the carbon fiber for the interior, small giveaway, as well as that carbon fiber spoiler and the plaid emblem down in the back. That's the only way you can really tell the two apart. Now the aero wheels, these wheels actually allow the long range to actually achieve 405 miles. If you opt for the larger rims, you can see right here that the Tesla lists this to be lower. Now realistically, the range I'm able to achieve in my Model S is close to 350 because I drive joyfully, I guess. Now if this is your first electric car, it's not always recommended to charge at 100%. Typically 100% is only good for long road trips on that same day. It's not healthy for the battery, but Tesla does recommend anywhere between 90 to like 50% is usually the sweet spot. And Elon Musk not too long ago tweeted something like this, very similar. So 50 and 90% is the sweet spot to set the charging limit for daily use. But realistically, honestly, I'm only able to get about 350 mile range with about an 80% battery charge. Now, before I continue on even further on this video, if you go on Tesla's website right now, the long range Model S no longer is listed under the long range. Tesla removed it sometime during the beginning of this year. So now whenever you opt for the long range, you're just getting the Model S. I guess this is now the new standard name for the Model S. Mine still says long range, which I think it's kind of cool. I guess it's somewhat of a unicorn car now, especially now. If you order your Model S right now, you will receive the new Matrix headlights. Now, from my understanding, the Matrix headlights are more visible at night, but honestly it's not that far apart from the current headlights that my vehicle currently have, like this generation headlights. This generation headlights to me looks better, it's cleaner. The other one has a massive projector in the front. That projector, it's not just there for functionality, but also has the projector ability for the Tesla logo that you can actually see whenever you enable Light Show. This was a recent update that we got in the beginning of this year. It's available on all new Model S's. Just with the matrix headlights, it'll project Tesla, which is kind of neat. Kind of like what the Model Y and 3 now has. But in the rear, there's a new updated look as well, as the trim piece right here doesn't follow to the taillights. Now it just ends right here. Now this could be a pro and con. I kind of like the older design in a sense, but the new design is much safer because the older design kind of has like a pixelated look when you compare it against like the modern Model Y taillights, what I originally had. This is my old Model Y. You could tell that the Model Y lights illuminate much more even and fluid compared to the older one. That this taillight design was used on the first generation Model S, and it continued until just recently they just updated it. But the charge port is the old-fashioned one, but the new Model S now has the same similar charge port that's typically found on the Model 3 and Y. So issues I encountered with my Model S. Tesla quality control issue. Seems like it got better, but I still noticed some annoying panel gaps, and sometimes the doors on my passenger side doesn't shut properly. I took it to Tesla to get it looked at. They did what they can. I still encountered this issue. It got to the point where I really don't care anymore. And the door glitch that you saw earlier in the beginning of this video, this got resolved within the first week. Super easy using the Tesla mobile app. I could have their mobile technician come to my house instead of having me to go to their showroom gallery to get service. They just send their mobile technician to my household. They fixed the door issue in 1 week. So yes, I was locked out of my vehicle. I had to open up my front driver door using the emergency release, which is located on the driver and passenger side. So I wasn't totally locked out, but they were able to resolve this within 1 week. And the experience was somewhat positive. An inconvenience, but it's not a common issue. It just unfortunately happened to me. According to the technician, what was causing this issue was just a hardware component that just needed to be swapped. So I just happened to receive that defected piece for the automated door. Okay, so I actually went ahead and installed a Tesla wall charger in my household. Now, the wall charger alone on Tesla's website is about $500. The thing I also recommend to also be aware of is research if your city requires a permit to install this. Unfortunately for me, I didn't know about this, so I had to pay an additional $500 from the wall charger, and it cost me about $500 more for an electrician to come in and install it as well. So in grand total, installing this wall charger was about $1,500. So do research before you purchase this, because sometimes it could cost a lot more than you expected. Now, driving experience. Yes, this is not a Plaid, but oh my goodness, this thing accelerates. Realistically, I know they listed this on the website being able to accelerate at 3.1. Something tells me it's slightly slower, but it still kicks butt. And unlike other EVs, even though this is just a standard Model S, some say in Mexico, once you get past 90 miles per hour, it still continues to carry on that power, and has reached in Mexico 150 miles per hour easily. So this car is no joke. It's crazy to believe that the Plaid is still faster. So in other terms, the Model S, even the long range, handles like a supercar. And while the Plaid, it still is the quickest production car available in the market. That's basically a hypercar. But handling wise, it handles extraordinarily well for a sedan. I mean, it drives better than most sedans on the road. It actually drives close to like a coupe or something like that. And I really do like the fact that the suspension, the air suspension, is fully customizable, which, fun fact, the air compressor is actually located in the front if you remove everything. This is how it looks like. It's all innovated on that strut bar, which is quite unique. So kudos on Tesla's engineers. They really did an excellent job making everything functional. But the suspension, you have 3 different modes to select from. You got Sport, Comfort, or Auto. And if you like to, you can also customize it to your own personal preference if you know how to toggle between these things. Now, one pedal driving is standard on the Model S. There's no off button for this, unfortunately. But honestly, within a week or so, I got used to it, to the point that driving this through the city is extremely comfortable, as I don't even have to let off my foot off the accelerator to tap the brake pedal. The auto regen works phenomenal. And yes, this thing does have drag strip mode, which is quite interesting. No, it doesn't have the cool Plaid animation, but when this mode is enabled, it will warm up the battery and the engines. So everything is fully optimized to give you the quickest acceleration time possible. And yes, it does actually put the vehicle in cheetah mode, which is really interesting. And the G-forces, oh my God, it punches you, even for the non-Plaid.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That wasn't, I wouldn't even hit 60, I cut off at 50 something. Now the cool thing I like about my Model Y is the windshield wipers. I know this may sound silly, but I really have to give Tesla credit for this clever engineering. So the windshield wiper, when it's not in use, it actually tucks underneath the windshield so you don't even see it. So it's not in your field of view, which makes driving extremely pleasant. And when you need to activate your wipers, they automatically pop out and then start wiping and doing their thing. And when they're not in use, they tuck back in, so giving you the best visibility possible. I have yet driven another car that has this, and honestly, I really wish more automotive manufacturers actually had this similar feature. Moving along, inside. The inside of this car looks like a space shuttle. Both the driver and passenger seats are extremely comfortable. I've done a couple of long road trips on this car already, and not once have I really complained about the comfort of the seat quality. It's super comfy. Again, I do believe it varies body to body, like different body types, but these seats are actually fantastic. Now, the front and passenger side seats, unfortunately, they're the only two that are actually heated and ventilated. The rear seats are only heated, unfortunately. But in the back here, it may look like there's no air vents, but the air vents are cleverly engineered inside the dash, and it's all controlled with the 17-inch infotainment screen right here. You can readjust it like so. You have all the important settings here, as well as some unique modes like dog mode, which will tell and alert other people around if they see your pet inside the car that the AC is turned on and the temperature, and that they're safe and the owner is coming back, so there's no need to panic and break a window. It also has camp mode, which allows you to actually sleep in your car with the AC running and stuff without draining too much of its battery. And most importantly, you have bio defense mode, which is perfect to use whenever the air quality is just absolutely terrible. Fine example is wildfires. Now, but the only thing I don't like so much about the air vent system, yes, it is a tri-air system, which means driver, passenger, and the rear passengers can have all their own separate temperature in the vehicle, but there's no way you can actually turn one of these vents off. Like a standard vehicle, you can just fold it shut. This one, it doesn't allow you to do this. So typically what we always do is just move the air vent to the passenger side, and if they want air, they have it. That's basically the only way we're able to turn this off. Now the back seats, they also have this similar screen and screen control for their air vents. They can also control the heated seats from here as well. And this little screen for the passenger side, they have the ability to actually stream on streaming platforms, as you see right here. So it's also a nice entertainment system for your rear passengers. The driver's side only has access to this when the vehicle is in park. Now, creature comforts. Yes, wireless e-charging is right here in the front, and you have additional cargo space right here in the center console. Since there's no center transmission or anything like that running through the vehicle, all of this is extra space, and this is where you'll find the cup holders, and you can seal it shut if you wish. In the rear seats, they also have a very similar feature, as this third row will actually fold down, giving you an additional armrest. And this section here also allows your rear passengers to wirelessly charge their devices, which is quite nice. And if they want to, they could use the USB-C ports in the front and charge devices this way if they want to charge the device much faster. Same goes for the driver and passenger side. Now, additional cargo space is in the back. There is a tonneau cover. This is included for the Model S, and there's additional compartments here as well. So space-wise, there's a ton of space in here, especially when you take in consideration the front is also a place for additional cargo. I typically like putting to-go food here because it doesn't stink up the interior of the car. To-go meals and stuff like that, they typically go here. Now back in the interior, the sound system in this thing is absolutely fantastic. And not too long ago, there was a new update that allowed us to actually control the EQ for the subwoofer. And my 6 months impression of the sound system, this is like the best sounding sound system I ever heard and experienced inside any vehicle. Tesla does it right in terms of their sound system. Even though this does have supposedly the hardware for active noise cancellation, that hasn't yet came out, but whenever the volume is above 5, it just does an excellent job on isolating the road noise and stuff that goes around you. And that's actually saying a lot, especially since this vehicle is already quiet enough for being an EV. It sounds phenomenal. It does an excellent job drawing in all the outside noise. But when you have your vehicle around 8% or higher volume, it sounds like this. Now, keep in mind, this car does connect to your device via Bluetooth. There's no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, so the music streaming on your main device is all done by Bluetooth. But even on Bluetooth, it sounds phenomenal. There's no need to actually have this plugged into a USB cable or anything like that, or an aux cable. The Bluetooth receiver that Tesla is using on this vehicle, there's literally no audio loss from my personal experience. Now, driver point of view, let's talk about the Yoke steering wheel. This is like the thing that journalists and many other articles were just targeting for no reason. Honestly, after using this Yoke steering wheel for about a week, I quickly adapted. I have no complaints on it whatsoever. I think it looks fantastic, especially from a POV. This just looks absolutely futuristic. And yes, there's no columns here. Shifting to drive, reverse, and auto. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can manually override it if you don't want to use the display. Yes, you swipe up for going forward and you swipe down to go reverse, or you can tap park right there if you want to park it manually. But if this screen fails, you have the backup right here, which you can just spam one of the buttons right here, and this will illuminate, allowing you to override it this way as well. But there's a nifty setting you can enable that will allow the vehicle to identify and know which direction you want to drive. So if you park too close to a wall or another vehicle, the car will automatically just suggest if you want to go reverse. You simply tap the brake pedal to confirm and you're on your way without having to touch anything. Now the turn signals, kind of similar story too. The turn signals can be toggled right here on the Yoke. It gives you a haptic feedback whenever you toggle any of these buttons, and it has auto cancel. So as soon as you toggle a turn signal and you change to your lane, using GPS and its cameras, the car can detect that and will automatically turn off the turn signal, so you don't have to press that button again. This works 80% of the time from my personal experience. Now, my Model S, I did receive it in September. So from my understanding, September and November, only those generations, those date models, you still had to toggle the horn by pressing the horn button right here, or button smash all the buttons on the right side. But if your Tesla is newer, from the November model, the center part right here is now an active horn. Tesla reversed back to that not too long ago, but just something to be aware of if you're buying a used one. Again, it was a learning curve, but I really don't have that much of a complaint. So I'm gonna go ahead and launch the Tesla app, and I'm gonna go through some interesting features that no other automotive manufacturer really has. So just like fine wine, this gets better in age. So this is basically how the UI now looks like on the Tesla mobile app. Here you can basically monitor everything in your vehicle. These 4 different shortcuts right here, you can actually long press and swap them with other ones. So this is what I have. I have the ability to lock, turn on the AC, charge port, or open up the front right here. I could tap on controls to have access to additional stuff. So here I could toggle the front, lock or unlock the car, open up the cargo space, flash the headlights if I'm having a hard time locating my vehicle in a parking lot, as well as toggle the horn. I can remote start, so I can give somebody else access to my car even though I'm not around it. And then home link, if you have a home link linked to your vehicle, which this is standard, you don't have to pay extra for this like the Model Y and the 3 is. You can actually automatically remotely control your garage remote from your vehicle by the app. Here you got the climate control, you can activate the heated seats and such. You have the ability to defrost your glass and toggle bioweapon defense mode. Here you can GPS monitor your vehicle's location, and when the vehicle is in use, you can actually see the speed right here on the app as well and what they're traveling in case you let somebody else borrow your car. Charging stats. This is basically honestly how much I'm spending in charging this vehicle at home. I don't charge during the peak hours, so that's another clever way I'm able to save some money. And I really do like owning the EV because of this, because especially right now with gas prices going up, I've been driving this Tesla a lot more than ever before. And it's much better than waiting in the Costco line being frustrated with people. And then the fact I could just plug in this car like I typically would do with my cell phone and just charge it is super convenient. It just makes owning this car really pleasant. And then you also have the ability to upgrade. You can view Tesla's accessories as well as software updates like full self-driving, or you can subscribe to it $200 a month, which I do sometimes. I'm gonna go more about that in a little bit. But that's a quick rundown of the Tesla mobile app. Oh, and there's also a widget if you're on iOS. I think Android also has one too. Feel free to comment down below if Android devices also have widgets for the Tesla app. Now, let's talk about the Autopilot experience. So I don't have full FSD on my car. I'm perfectly fine, honestly, with Autopilot. Autopilot, I could quickly describe it. It's like a very advanced adaptive cruise control. As the vehicle is able to maintain its speed, adapt to the vehicle in front, keep you in the center lane, and also make some nifty turns while on Autopilot. which really does help reduce strain and stress levels when you're driving through traffic. That's typically when I'll typically use it, or down those straightaway roads that there's literally nothing going on. It still requires a lot of driver's attention awareness, so always make sure you have your hand on the wheel in case there's an emergency and you have to take over. Now, phantom braking was something that I was typically experiencing a lot with my Model Y. That is because my Model Y did not have LiDAR sensor. They took it off during some time last year. So solely relies on Tesla Vision. And Tesla Vision is basically just autopilot utilizing all the cameras. There's no LiDAR sensor. My Model S actually does have the LiDAR sensor. And because of this, it's able to go on autopilot at a set speed up to 90 miles per hour. Tesla Vision is still limited. Now, Tesla did stated a couple of times that they're working on it so that the Tesla Vision can also be equipped and enabled to 90 miles per hour. But at the time making this video, this hasn't been resolved. They haven't released this yet. But my Model S, I'm able to activate autopilot up to 80 miles per hour. And from my understanding, the new Model S's with the new taillights and the headlights, they no longer have LiDAR sensors. They're also relying on Tesla Vision. But my Model S, with its current spec, with LiDAR and stuff, I haven't yet experienced any phantom brake, believe it or not. But I still recommend driving with the foot on the accelerator. If it does randomly brake hard, you could at least accelerate the vehicle so you don't get rear-ended. So yes, driver awareness is required still. It's not really full autopilot. And the full self-driving, this is optional. Again, I didn't personally get it because it still is in the beta stage and it just costs too much. And I have used summon mode on my Model Y, and honestly, it's too slow and came close to hitting somebody once, so I don't trust summon just yet. Especially after seeing some horror stories of some Teslas actually hitting trees and stuff when summon mode is enabled. So yeah, that's a part of the full self-driving. But with full self-driving in general, it does have the ability to automatically lane change and merge onto another highway. If you're using navigation, the vehicle will automatically self-change lanes if you allow it to. So it's extremely useful when you're doing cross-country road trips and you're driving on roads that you're not familiar with. With full self-driving, it could change lanes for you so you don't miss your exit. But I have used full self-driving on my Model S. I typically only use the monthly subscription because it's just like a Netflix subscription. You could cancel at any time and there's no cancellation fee, but it is $200 a month. So I only renew it for 1 month if I'm doing a long road trip, and then cancel once I'm back home. Now, since we're in the subject of road trips, let me go ahead and share you some advice. So when charging your Tesla using the Tesla Superchargers, it works phenomenal. Unlike some other third parties that I've used in the past, like I have used other EVs like a Mustang Mach-E as a fine example. I have to rely on third-party chargers, which means I have to download an app, set up a membership, enter my credit card information, and allow the app to communicate with the charger and then communicate to the car. It's just a hassle. With Tesla Superchargers, it just works. You just plug it in, the car will communicate with the charger and will link up with your VIN number on your account and will automatically bill whatever card is on that account of yours. It works 100% of the time. Not once has it failed me. Actually, one time it did fail me, but that's because that station was broken. But it's super reliable. You plug it in, the car just starts charging. But a quick heads up I do have is there is idle fees. So as soon as your car reaches the destination charge range that you set, you need to quickly move your vehicle, because if you don't, every minute you're going to get charged an idle fee. So just something I want you to be aware of if you're considering getting a Model S or a Tesla in general. But in terms of range anxiety, there's so many Tesla chargers, superchargers available all across the US. I'm very confident I could easily drive from the West Coast to the East Coast because the supercharger network, as you see here, it's all over, it's everywhere. And you could create custom waypoints on the navigation too if you want to make additional stops. Now, blind spot visibility, there's a lot of ways you can see your blind spot on this car. Not only when you toggle the turn signal, it will actually visually show you that your blind spot, making sure there's no cars there. But you can also use the center display where your dash is, where it shows you the speedometer, as it's able to show you what the vehicle sees with its autopilot system. You can use the screen as well, but of course you can always use your mirrors. And if you like to, unlike other vehicles, you can actually run your backup camera while you're driving. Super useful, especially when you have furniture in the back blocking your rear view mirror. You can just launch the backup camera while you're driving. So all in all, yeah, I had some inconvenience like the door issue I showed you earlier, but this car honestly is phenomenal. It's like a meme. It could fart, it could play games, although The Witcher still isn't available, which is marketed on their Tesla website. Maybe in the near future that comes out. But Tesla continues to roll out software updates for new things, new games like Sonic. Honestly, this car is like a meme. It drives like a supercar. It farts. It has excellent range, 350 plus on average. The hubcaps, these things, you can actually remove them off and they reveal a sporty rim. And yes, the brake calipers are the exact same ones you'll find on the Plaid. And the interior is absolutely gorgeous. It has that minimalist design, which just makes everything look pleasant. Now, if you're curious what accessories and some things I've done to my car, the quick summary is this. I have carbon fiber mirror caps on my Model S. I'll have a link in the description. I removed the Tesla emblem in the back just to make it seem less like a Tesla. It's obvious it's a Tesla anyways. So I plastic dipped the Tesla emblem in the front as well to make it seem like not a Tesla, but it still is obvious it's a Tesla. I was trying to make it seem less like a Tesla, but from far distance, anybody could tell it's a Tesla, unfortunately. And then the radar detector that I have is the Passport Max 360. One of the best radar detectors I ever used. I have it on all my vehicles, and I was able to wire it, the headliner to the pillar right here on the side, and then plug it into the 12-volt outlet down here. I'll include the accessories I used in the description if you want to recreate that as well. But there you guys have it. That is the final verdict of how's my 6 months experience been like with the newly refreshed Model S. It's been positive minus the bugs that I encountered. The car itself is holding up extremely well and strong. So if you found this video informative and grateful, you know what to do. I greatly appreciate if you can actually leave this video a like, as those help me out a lot, and get subscribed, especially if you enjoy a lot of tech videos just like this. If you're curious about the comparison video I made before I sold my Model Y against the Model S, you can go ahead and check out that video over there. The Model Y isn't really a bad car, to be honest. And then that video over there, that's the video that YouTube is recommending specifically for you. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you all in the next one. See ya.